Everything that you thought had meaning, every hope, dream, or moment of happiness, none of it matters as you lie bleeding out on the battlefield. We all die. But does that mean our lives are meaningless? Would you say that of our slain comrades? What about their lives? Were they meaningless? They were not! Their memory serves as an example to us all! The courageous fallen, the anguished fallen, their lives have meaning because we, the living, refuse to forget them! And as we ride to certain death, we trust our successors to do the same for us! Because my soldiers do not buckle or yield when faced with the cruelty of this world! My soldiers push forward! My soldiers scream out! My soldiers rage!
When the Imperium of Man is under siege and your standard marine lacks the firepower, there is one definitive solution that Imperium excels in: firepower and more firepower. And whom better to provide such destruction than the respective nobles of House Terryn, in which they deploy their highly esteemed knights, whom not only abide their code of protecting those under their care and serving the Emperor, but also excel in the art of warfare. And oh dude, those from House Terryn truly excel in their craft. Now, if you've seen my previous Joytoy figures, they're locked up at the 1 out of 18 scale range, resulting in them lacking a few inches regarding height compared to their Japanese counterparts, is what I would say had it not been for this figure here blowing any preconceived notions out of the window. As originating from the nation with the second largest landmass, it sure shows the abundance of space the titular nation has left over, as not only does the Imperial Knight dwarf all of his Warhammer contemporaries, but it's literally the biggest and heaviest figure in my entire collection. And the numbers don't lie, the Imperial Knight stands at a colossal 53.7 centimeters or 21 inches tall, making short work out of even the likes of King Ghidorah to Little Kingdom Come, and making any anime waifu this knight's personal dildo. Here's a knight next to Machine Whisper, Tyranid Psychers, Heretics, Mutants, and fellow allies of Imperium. So if you're planning on completing the Warhammer collection, either move to a country with more space or upgrade your housing options, which, let's be honest, is impossible for us Zoomers. And if you thought the wonders ended here, oh, do I have some great news for you all. As the days of Made in China being affiliated with cheap, faulty, and mass-produced stereotypes have truly become a thing of the past, as Joytoy, alongside other Made in China products, broke that preconceived notion and brought us not only a figure that can be defined as a work of art, but an artwork that is equivalent, or even surpasses, those seen as Japanese contemporaries. So let's take a close look. When closely observing the colossal titan, the upper torso more or less contains most of the weight and core functions, as out of the large perimeter of the top, the cockpit is located at the center, in which, unlike most mech miniatures, if you can call this a miniature at this point, the cockpit is fully sculpted and primed, as by opening the hatch, the full details of the Mechanicus designed mech are exposed, in which, from the medieval and gothic inspired chair design, to the control panels for the pilot to maneuver the mech to its fullest potential, and maybe the most vital component within the cockpit is the AI. Oh, I'm sorry, Machine Whisper.
Even in death, I serve the undesire.
That, when connected with the pilot, allows the pilot to control the mech to his fullest desire. The only issue I have is that it fails to light up, even with this unknown button on top being pressable, making me wonder if there is a hidden gimmick beneath that allows the pilot to talk to his ancestors. If you know, you're already far gone at this point. And skipping over the minute details such as the numerous railings or the emblem of House Terryn, there are the close range defensive arsenals, starting off with the House Terryn insignia marked shield that that may seem trivial regarding the mech's defensive capabilities, but when clearly observing the said accessory, it is marked with the numerous scriptures similarly seen on the Space Marines that function to block or otherwise any corrupting effects from chaos forces. And the nice gimmick is that the shield is attached to a ball joint, allowing the titular shield to move at any angle the Imperial Knight is facing. But when there are threats that are a little too close for the Imperial Knight's comfort, on the opposite end is the titular heavy stubber that, with a high rate of fire, high caliber rounds, and a multi-directional angle, all add up in contributing to the ever-increasing number of corpses of those that dare oppose the glory of the Emperor or his Imperium. But maybe the most crucial component placed on the torso is the head that, with its medieval-inspired helmet, truly exemplifies the gothic and medieval nature of the Imperial Knight. This is not mentioning the splendid paint job applied with the beige and gold on top and the beige and red blend on the bottom that contribute to the already splendid design. But an unfortunate aspect regarding Joytoy is their quality control issues, as out of the box the said helmet was covered in some severe stains, but with the help of some cosmetics and these hands, I was able to remove most of the stains, and with some extra time we'll be able to get rid of it completely. So beware if you're picking this fella up. But underneath the knight's helmet is the Mechanicus design face, which clearly resembles that of a human skull alongside the breathing aspirations, and underneath the red lens is an LED component in which, after inserting a CR927 battery and turning on the switch with its accompanying magnetic rod,
do you have a drug problem? No.
awakens the numerous souls of the Knights of House Terryn, all encompassed within the machine that acts as a savior to the residents of the Night World, but is more or less an angel of death in the eyes of any heretics or xenos that dare oppose the Emperor. But such scary looking eyes or a close range cannon won't mean much against larger hostiles, and I can tell you there are a lot of them in the Warhammer universe, in which the titular war machine comes armed and ready with a battle cannon and a colossal Reaper chainsword. And firstly, talking about the enormous battle cannon, it acts as the long-range howitzer that possesses enough firepower to rival a Lehman Russ main battle tank, or for you casuals, can take out enemy infantry and armor with ease. And if the heavy stubbers on the torso weren't enough, there is another one placed next to the gun, so if you thought of going against the Imperial Knight with swarm tactics, you are gravely mistaken. But for those up and close encounters, there is the Reaper chainsword that, with the extra weight and mass, doesn't just end up finishing off Tyrannic grunts and Chaos Marines, but can also make our Night Boy here go toe-to-toe with the likes of Chaos Knights and other higher-end Tyranids. This is seen through the blades that, luckily, depending on who you're asking, are composed of soft rubber-like plastic, making it safe for those owners who have young ones to tend to, which seems to be a dying breed lately here in East Asia. This is not mentioning the fact that the blades can be moved, manually of course, just to add an extra layer of authenticity to the figure. But it's not just the front where all the details were embedded, as Joytoy implemented the same amount of details onto the rear, starting off with the 4 exhaust ports that, just like the ones seen on the Ultramarines, are intricately detailed with the metal and gold paint job, the head of the eagles on each point that represent the Imperium of Man, and does not mention the various pipeworks all individually sculpted that culminate in the Mechanicus engines located at the center, helping to propel the Imperial Knight when it's on the move. But what is a sci-fi mech if not for its nature of being able to move with its legs? And the Knights of the Imperium came with a pair of some sturdy legs that, with the solid steel foundations, numerous interconnected pipeworks, the superbly sculpted and painted armor intricately placed on the mold, to the AT-AT-esque feet that firmly hold onto the ground and distribute the weight of the colossal knight, making this knight able to hold his own in some dynamic poses. Oh, and for the sake of figure longevity, don't place another figure beneath those feet, as they'll likely end up either breaking the down subject due to the sheer weight if it isn't big enough, or the Imperial Knight is the one likely to trip over due to the imbalance. But an evident fact of life is that it doesn't matter how big or fancy you are, as what truly matters is whether
You've got moves.
As the Imperial Knight originally being designed for colonization and mining purposes rather than for the military, you shouldn't be expecting Gundam level fluidity, but ironically enough, this new machine of war possesses enough movement that puts kaiju figures to shame. The head can move slightly up and down and side to side. the shield with the Terryn insignia being able to move up and down, while the autocannon, as being required to eliminate hostiles from all directions, can pull off an almost full 360. The shoulder plates can move up and down, but the shoulders aren't quite capable of exploiting the shoulder armor's full potential. And while the arms are stiff, they are able to pull off a diverse array of posability from front and back and side to side. This does not mention the bicep movement, allowing a full 360 for both the howitzer and chainsword to bend any Xeno or Heretic scum into name of the Emperor. The die-cast piece connected waist allows for a full 360 spin, but the legs are limited regarding front and back. And while the Imperial Knight possesses a pair of knees, they're either immobile or stiff as hell. That's more or less there for show at this point. And there are feet movement that may seem stiff compared to his human contemporaries, but are capable of pulling off a full-on front and back and side-to-side movement that adds to the extreme stability the Imperial Knight boasts. When discussing what the titular Titan, Knight, has in disposal, seriously, this guy's already taking up space, do you really want it to take more? And Joytoy probably thought the same, as they packed only the human pilot, or for you hardcore fans, the little knight of House Terryn. But doesn't the human still take up enough space, you might say? Well, you can shove him up. But regardless of use, the sculptors at Joytoy seem to have mastered their craftsmanship in human miniatures, as just like Titus beforehand, the Imperial noble seen here retain all the details from the petite but extremely intricate face with all the details included, from the great eyebrows and beard, the large Caucasian nose, to even the eyes where the Emperor's glory truly glows. Just a shame that our titular nobleman is the epitome of aging baldness. But the outfit also retains the level of details as seen on par with the Ultramarines. From the armor of the upper torso that depicts the insignia of House Terryn, the waist accessories from the extra pockets to the sidearm, the engineer designed leg design, to the numerous wires sticking out, that all add up to depict not just an ordinary pilot, but a wise knight that oozes nobleman composure. But if you thought the pilot felt a little too bland by himself, you're right, as Joytoy paired the titular pilot with two extra accessories from the alternative hands that this time around are usually used when you place the nobleman inside the cockpit in order to keep it a secret. But maybe the most impressive accessory is this helmet, as just by removing the original head and placing the helmet in its place, you have the pilot when he's locked in prime to rev up the Imperial Knight, especially with the medieval and Gothic style helmet, blue visors, to the breathing aspirations, making it perfect when the pilot's either entering or driving the Imperial Knight. This does not mention the size of the titular nobleman, as rather than the bulked-up super soldier you call an Astartes or a Custodian, the pilots of the titular Knights are more or less your average Joe, in which he stands at 10.8 centimeters or 4.2 inches tall, making him a midget to not only your average Ultramarine, but also next to your Japanese contemporaries. Here's the pilot next to Gunpla, Kaijus, Figats, Figmas, and fellow Imperial contemporaries. But when considering the posability, they're more or less identical to your average Joytoy figure. The head attached by a ball joint can move up and down, side to side. The torso can also similarly move up and down, side to side. The shoulder armor can slightly move front and back, but limits the range of the shoulder lift. The arms can move front and back. The elbows can bend up to 90 degrees. Run-of-the-mill hand movement, not too bad leg spread, diverse leg movement, side-to-side movement, superb knee bend, limited feet movement, and a toe bend. So, to end this night's voyage, Joytoy's iteration of the Imperial Knight of House Terryn is another fantastic release, as it retains all the things I admire from the line's Warhammer figures, from the intricate sculpt, attention to details, to the pretty impressive point of articulation. But what differentiates this knight from the rest, besides the price, is the enormous scale that this mech retains, as it was so massive that not only did it put my biggest kaiju figures look like mere dinosaurs from Jurassic Park, but also made this review quite a difficult time to film, as it was almost impossible to place on my table that I had to film certain points on the floor. But also the 16 to 35mm lens wasn't big enough to take a complete shot of the Imperial Knight, in which I had to revert back to my old traditional ways, the phone camera, as it was the only suitable gear to accomplish such task, which is saying a lot. But hey, I'm not complaining. The only legit point of criticism I have with this figure are the QC issues, especially those seen on the helmet that, unless you're familiar with painting your figures, can only be passed off as battle damage. But considering Warhammer fans, they'll probably repaint this figure as they wish. Would I recommend this figure? Well, depends. If you have leftover disposable income, thank God I invested in Tesla. Is a fan, and I mean a hardcore fan of Warhammer, and have leftover real estate, this is a must buy. But for the rest, it's more or less overkill. In doing so, I'm gonna give Joytoy's iteration of the Imperial Knight of House Terryn a ranking of an A-.